Hey guys, so I'm back with some good news and some bad news. Good news is I finally found time to get started on this project again, and bad news is it's not running again. Let's see what we can do. I got these eyelids for my headlights. I actually got these a while ago at the Pomona swap meet, and I just barely installed them now, and I think they look all right. And the other thing I got was this roof rack, and I got this off a guy in Whittier, California. Douglas fir wood. I think he stained them and put clear coat over them so it's nice and weather protected. And the metal here, I think he was saying he just rattle canned it. I don't really see a point to powder coat that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just rattle canned it. For now, I just have like random stuff put on top. I also found somebody selling these beauty rings and new hubcaps. I think these came off of a Gia. I was told they're the same fitment as a Type 3. I have mine here, but I think one of them is mismatched. All of them, you can see the previous owner or the previous owner or somebody used like a flathead or something to pry these out, and the beauty rings are not so beautiful anymore. So this one looks a whole lot better, and they're all matching. After sitting for a couple weeks, it seemed like the battery was completely drained, so I actually removed the quick disconnect. Let me actually show you. This whole box thing that I used to have connected to the battery here, I have a little remote, this thing, and I decided to just completely delete it so I can isolate the problem. But basically when I first started it, nothing was working, no juice or anything. I put this on a trickle charger and it wasn't really doing much. I charged it overnight, still was having issues. So then I took it to AutoZone to get charged overnight. And at the same time, I also thought about replacing my starter just in case. I know I replaced the starter about a year ago, but I do have warranty through AutoZone on the starter, so I just might as well get a new one too, just to isolate that problem also.
The battery's still good.
It says it's still good?
Yeah. It's just not even, it's not fully charged, it's at half.
It's at, what's it at right now?
I sent you to In-N-Out for us. What? I said I should have sent you to In-N-Out for us. Huh?
And just like that, got a replacement starter. Thanks, AutoZone. There's the new starter there, and it's already installed on the Squareback transmission. So then I got the starter in, I put the new battery, I cranked it. It took a really long time to even start the engine. Eventually I got it to start, but it was really, really rough, like really bad. So I shut it off and left it in the garage and haven't really touched it since. At first, I was thinking maybe I needed to readjust the valves, but I just did that not too long ago. The noise it's making, it almost kind of sounds like the cylinder heads are loose on the engine. Even though I adjusted the valves, if the cylinder heads are loose, these are always going to be off. I need to torque down the cylinder heads. To further isolate the issue with the electronic system, I also bought a new engine harness, and I also got a new Pertronix electronic ignition. So I'm going to be throwing that into my distributor also. Now that I know I have to torque my cylinder heads, install the electronic ignition, replace the engine harness, and all this other stuff with timing and everything, I figured it's probably going to be easiest for me to just drop the engine rather than try to work around what I have going on in here. Another thing I wanted to do was take a deeper dive into setting the carburetors properly, and I really don't feel confident about how I synchronize these two carburetors. And in order to do that properly and much easier, it's just so much better to take the engine out. So that's why I opted to just do all this work now so that I can do everything all at once and make sure all the settings are correct, the timing's good, everything's all right. Then I'm gonna slap it back in and hopefully I should be good. The last thing I wanted to do was take care of these pushrod tubes. It kind of leaks there sometimes. Before I torque down the cylinder head, I want to take out all the pushrod tubes and maybe put a little bit of Teflon tape where those nuts are. And hopefully that will fix a little bit of the oil leaks that are coming from the engine. I did make a video in the past on how to remove the engine off the Squareback, so I can link that in the description down below. In this video, maybe I'll just do like a time lapse or something, but I won't really be documenting it like I did in that video. So watch that if you want to learn how to remove the engine. Okay, I got the engine out. Oops. So, as you may have seen, I totally forgot to take off the oil dipstick. And look what happened. But basically, as I was trying to drop the engine, this oil dipstick here was holding it up on this side, so as it was dropping, it was going this way. And because I didn't have my valve covers, a bunch of oil leaked. The push rods for cylinder 2 actually fell out. I'm pretty sure I put them in the right orientation, I hope. But that's all old oil anyways, so not super worried about it. I'm just gonna go ahead and let that dry up for a little bit, maybe leave it overnight or something. But in the meantime, I have this out. So I'm gonna wait until my brother gets here so he can help me put this on the engine stand. Right now I can't really do too much to it, so I do want to lift it up and work on it there. Okay, I have the engine set up here in the corner of my garage, and it's now on my engine stand. And there should be plenty of space for me to work on it. Now that the engine's out, it gives me a little bit closer look at the condition of the engine. And I see that there is quite a few exhaust leaks. There's one here, and another one right there. The carburetors, they look all right. There's a bit of leakage right there, so I think maybe the carb may be leaking or something. I see over here there's a ton of oil. So I want to take this out and torque down the nut that's holding that in place. Here, there's a little bit of leakage that I wiped down before I took the engine out, so I want to sort out that mess. This oil pressure gauge, I think I may just delete this. I'm gonna put an actual gauge that goes to my dash. The timing, I'm pretty sure, is off, so I'm gonna redo that after I install the electric ignition in there. And I spilled gas here, so it stripped the paint, so I may repaint that. I need to retorque the cylinder heads, put the rocker valves back on and readjust them, and sort out the leaking push rod tubes down there. I'm sure I'm gonna find a bunch of other stuff while I tear it apart, but maybe I'll start to do that on the next video. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video short. Really, I just wanted to set this video up so that I can get started on this. Hopefully I can start to drive it before the end of the year. We'll see how it goes. One last thing. I got a new Squareback toy, one with a roof rack on it. This one, the color actually matches my Squareback a little bit better. It has the roof rack, the wheels are different, and it also has the hitch in the back, which kind of matches. This one, actually, the box said it was a 68, and this one says it's a 66, but really, who's really looking that close? So I'm gonna be keeping this, putting it here. This one, I'm gonna give it to the previous owner of the Squareback, because before she sold it to me, this is how she remembers the car. All right, guys, thanks a lot. See you next time.